taking a moment to find yourself in a supine position, laying on your back. Your legs can be bent or straight. Your head can be supported by a pillow. We're going to really allow ourselves to be curious, to let ourselves notice as we do a soma scan. I'm going to start from the tip of your toes through the soles of your feet. Noticing any tensions, not trying to change them, just to allow yourself to notice. Moving your focus up through the backs and fronts of your legs. Noticing any tension. Noticing if one leg feels longer than the other or heavier. Noticing the surface area of the leg tissue that is resting into the floor or not resting into the floor. Moving up into the hips and pelvis, the pelvic bowl, noticing if there's tension in the pelvic floor or the gluteal muscles. Noticing if one side feels more weighted into the floor or higher to the ceiling or higher towards your head. Just noticing the placements of your hips. See if you can notice into your sacrum. Noticing the attachments of the muscles into your legs from your sits bones. Moving your attention into your lower back and the muscles that rise up from your hips through your back. Noticing if there's an arch or if the back is flattened, or if one side connects more to the floor than the other. If one side is up off the floor more than the other. Noticing the quality of tension through your back body, up through the spine, all the way to the shoulder blades. Noticing if one shoulder blade is more weighted into the floor than the other. Noticing if it feels higher than the other. Moving your attention in to the shoulders, noticing if they're up at the ears or if one is more close to the ear than the other, or closer to your body than the other. Just allowing yourself to notice what it is that you notice. Bringing your focus now to your breath. Noticing where it reaches and where it doesn't. Notice if one side of the rib cage rises more than the other. Noticing if it's a shallow or a deep breath. Moving your attention in through that front body. Just notice if there are any tensions, any holdings. Just allowing yourself to be aware. Remembering that there is a side body. And so as you scan up from the hips, noticing as you breathe, is there breath into the side body? Is there tension all the way up to the armpits? And now noticing through your arms, where in time and space are your arms? Are your palms towards you or up to the ceiling? Are your arms close to your body or far away? Noticing if one arm feels longer or heavier than the other. Noticing any tensions through the arms. Moving your focus up to your head, noticing how it's resting on the pillow or on the floor. The placement of the weight of the head. Is it tilted forward or back, or to the left or to the right? Allowing yourself to notice any tensions in the ears, jaw, brows, scalp, or even in your brain. Just allowing yourself to notice what you notice. Not trying to adjust, just allowing awareness. Moving into the neck and throat, noticing if there's tensions there. Is it different on one side to the other, to the front, to the back? And just bringing your attention now back to your breath. And when you're ready, I'm going to have you bring your feet flat on the floor. I'm going to begin a tilt and flatten. So allowing your breath to come in, and witnessing your belly button rise to the ceiling. And as you exhale, feeling it drop down. The next time you inhale, drawing your attention to the tip of your tailbone. Notice as your belly button rises to the ceiling, can the tip of your tailbone gently move down towards the floor? It's just the natural movement of the breath. And breathing out, tip of the tailbone will rise gently to the ceiling. Breathing in, belly button rises to the ceiling, back gently arches, shoulder blades come down and hips go up towards each other. Breathing out, back lengthens. As you exhale, contract the abdomen to flatten the back gently to the floor. Breathing in, allowing the belly button to rise, tip of the tailbone to go down towards the floor, gentle arch in the back. And as you breathe out, when you get to neutral, gently contract the abdomen to bring the back flatter to the floor. Tip of the tailbone goes up. Breathing in, allowing yourself to go through 2 more of these cycles. Letting yourself be soft in the rib cage. Allow the possibility of movement through your whole spine. Last breath in. Notice, does the head move? Do the shoulders move? Breathing out. Your next breath in, allowing your breath just to follow its own pace. A few of your own breaths here. And when you're ready, just turning on to one of your sides. So allowing your body just to find an easy position. And we're going to think today about a clamshell with the knees. And so first we're going to just see if having a pillow underneath the foot allows a little bit more ease. And seeing how it feels. And so for today, we're going to just see where the body feels like it wants to be in time and space. We're not so concerned about the big, tall chair, but we do want alignment. So that's wonderful. And so when we think about a clamshell, we're going to think about that top leg. We're going to externally rotate from the hip, just gently, feeling the engagement of the glute, and slowly with control, bringing it back down. And so with this one, we really want to honor really small external rotation. So when you get your way back to neutral, honoring any sensor motor amnesia that comes along, when you're at neutral, let everything soften, let everything rest. And so when we do this external rotation, the ankles will stay together. And I want you to do it, the movement, like 25% of what you did before. Very small. Engaging the glute and slowly with control, bringing it back down to neutral. Really being mindful of any sensor motor amnesia, even within that 25%. When you're back at neutral, allow every muscle that got engaged to soften, every muscle to rest. And a breath here. And when you're ready, thinking about just that little bit of that 25%, externally rotating from the hip and slowly with control, bringing it back to neutral. Control all the way down to neutral. Feeling the lengthening in through the glutes. And when you're at neutral, allow everything to soften, everything to rest. Taking a breath here. Allow those deep muscles of the glutes to soften, noticing if you engage the rib cage. Another breath here. When we're ready, we're going to internally rotate. So this time the knees are going to stay together, internally rotating from the hip, only as far as is comfortable, and slowly with control, bringing it back down to neutral. Watching for sensor motor amnesia, recontracting and bringing it through if there is. Slowly with control, bringing it all the way back down to neutral. Taking your time to make sure that that last final easement into neutral is controlled. We don't want to just drop it into place. We want to control it, slow and steady with control. When you're at neutral, allowing everything to soften, everything to rest. One more time, internal rotation, only 25% this time, so even smaller than what you did before. Really just being curious and mindful. How much control can you have in the hip as you internally rotate? Trusting and listening to your body. Watching for sensor motor amnesia. And slowly with control, bringing it all the way back down to neutral. When at neutral, allowing your breath to be, allowing every muscle that got engaged to soften and to rest. And so now that we're still in this position, I'm going to think about that big, tall, high back chair. Seeing if our hips are aligned with our shoulders and our shoulders are aligned with each other. And we can check the front of the mat to see if there's equal distance between our hips and our shoulders, to see if our back of our chair is straight, in fact. And knees at 90 and toes out. So if we were to look past our knees, we would see the little toes wiggle. And we're going to take the top arm, reaching above the head, connecting on the top or underside of the head, so the fingertips are to the ear that is down on your arm or your pillow. I'm going to think about shortening that side body. So contracting, bringing the head, neck, and elbow up, bringing the armpit towards the hip, and slowly with control, bringing it all back down to neutral. When at neutral, allowing everything to soften, everything to rest. On this next one, we're going to think about the neck being a little shorter on that side, so it's almost like the ear is coming to the shoulder, the armpit is coming to the hip, and the hip to the armpit. We may even notice that internal rotation of the thigh, and slowly with control, lengthening that top line between the hip and the armpit and the neck, allowing everything to go back to neutral, slow and with control, watching for sensor motor amnesia. If there is any, recontract gently and taking it through. Remembering that reworking the sensor motor amnesia areas is allowing information to come back online. And when you're down at neutral, allow everything to soften and everything to rest. One more time on this side when you're ready. Lifting head, neck, and elbow, armpit towards hip, hip towards armpit, internal rotation of that upper thigh. Slowly with control, bringing it all back down to neutral, being very mindful of how slow and controlled you can do it. And when you're back at neutral, allow everything to soften, everything to rest, letting your arm find a comfortable position, taking a breath here. And when you're ready, you can turn onto your back and allowing yourself to notice. Does one side feel more open or longer than the other? Allowing yourself to be curious. Does the breath feel different? Does the way the back rests or the legs rest or the hips feel different? Maybe even the shoulders. maybe even the weight of the head. Just allowing yourself to notice whatever it is that you notice. And when you're ready, you can turn on the other side. Supporting your head as you need. Pillow or your arm. And allowing your legs to be wherever it is for comfort. And just taking a moment here just to notice whatever it is that you notice. And when you're ready, I'm going to do that very curious clamshell. So I'm taking a breath and slowly externally rotate that top hip. Your ankles or feet will stay together. Your knees will separate. You'll notice the glutes gently engage. And really be mindful as you slowly, with control, bring it back down to neutral. Really honoring the movement that is available. And when you're at neutral, allow yourself to have a breath. Allow everything that got engaged to soften and to rest. Remembering to adjust your body as you need. And if it feels like it needs to shake a little energy out, I encourage you just to listen to your soma. Give it the space to release as it needs to release. And allowing every muscle that got engaged in that external rotation of the upper thigh to soften and release. And when you're ready, I'm going to do the movement again. So thinking about the glute, external rotation only as far as it is comfortable. And slowly with control, bringing it back down to neutral. Really being mindful of how far you go into external rotation. Because it's not about how far we can go. It's about, can we do the movement with control? And can we come out of the movement with slow, controlled movement? Being sure to control the movement all the way back down to rest, all the way back down to neutral. And when we're at neutral, allow all the muscles that got engaged to soften and to rest. Muscles of the feet, the belly, the side, the back, the glutes, maybe even the jaw. And one more time. And if you place your hand on your glutes, you might even be able to notice their engagement. And slowly with control, externally rotating. And if you've done big movements, allow the movement to be only 25% of what you've done before. And slowly with control, being mindful of any sensory-motor amnesia, recontract and take it through again. Control all the way back down to neutral. And when you're at neutral, remembering going at your own pace. And when you get to neutral, allow everything to soften and everything to rest. Allowing your breath to be present here. Letting your body readjust if it needs. Another breath here, allowing everything to soften and everything to rest. Our next movement is going to be that interior rotation of that upper thigh. So this time the knees will stay together and the foot may rise. And slowly with control, watching for any sensor motor amnesia. Recontracting where you need to. Really being mindful as your body comes back down into neutral. Slow and controlled. We don't want to drop that final step. We want to control the lengthening into neutral. And when at neutral, allow all the muscles that got engaged to soften and to rest. When you're ready, allowing your top arm to reach over and above your head. So it's cupping your head, your fingers, maybe close to your ear that is resting on your pillow or your arm on the floor. Taking a breath here, and when you're ready, the movement is going to be to lift the head, neck, and elbow up off of the floor, thinking about bringing your armpit to your hip. You may notice the hip. Do a very gentle hip hike or internal rotation occur. And as you lengthen that top line back out to neutral, slowly with control, and bring it all back down to neutral. When you're at neutral, allow everything to soften and everything to rest. And you may have consciously or subconsciously checked your body to see that your knees are at 90 and that we're in that big, tall chair, that your toes are out in front of you, and that your shoulders and hips are stacked on one another, and that your shoulders are stacked upon themselves. Taking one more breath here. And when you're ready, shortening that top line, so lifting the head, neck, and elbow up off the floor. You may internally rotate the thigh or just hip hike, seeing what feels right for you. Slowly with control, lengthening that top line back down to neutral. And when you're ready, lifting that head, neck, and elbow up off the floor, gentle hip hike or internal rotation. Slow and steady, lengthening that line, opening between the ribs, lengthening the head and neck, allowing everything to come back to neutral, listening for any sense or motor amnesia, and being sure to have control all the way back down to neutral. When you're at neutral, allow everything to soften, everything to rest. Allowing your arm to rest wherever it is comfortable. Allowing your breath just to be yours. And when you're ready, you can turn onto your back. And legs can be long. Allowing yourself to notice what it is that you notice. Did the legs feel more equal? Does the torso feel more balanced? Just noticing what it is that you notice. For our trunk today, we're going to do a cross knee tilt and arm reach. So I'm going to invite you to bend your knees so your feet are flat on the floor. And honoring the movement of your arm, we're going to move the right arm to be lengthened above your head, like you're asking a question. Allowing it to rest on the floor, finding where in time and space it's comfortable and all right for your shoulder. We're going to cross the left leg comfortably over your right leg. Slowly allowing your legs to tilt slowly to the left, only as far as is comfortable. Gently reach your right arm along the floor away from you and allow your head to roll if it feels comfortable. So the legs are tilting left and the arm is reaching up towards the wall above you. And slowly with control, bringing the legs to neutral and the arm to neutral. Really being mindful as you slowly control the movement, watching for sense or motor amnesia. When you're back at neutral, allow it all to soften and rest. When you're ready, gently tilting your legs to the left, only as far as you can comfortably. And gently reaching with the arm, opening that side body. And slowly with control, release your arm reach as you slowly bring your knees back to vertical. When you're at neutral, uncrossing the legs, letting the arm rest comfortably. And allowing yourself to notice what you notice. And when you're ready, You can cross the other leg over your knee and reach your left arm up. And so we're going to allow the legs to tilt gently to the right. And we'll notice with the crossing of the legs, it might be different than the other leg. It may be just in a figure four with your ankle on your knee, or you might be fully crossed. Whatever is right for you. And as you allow the legs to tilt gently to the right, slowly reach up along the floor with your arm. And slowly, with control, bringing your arm back to neutral and your legs back to vertical, watching for any sensor motor amnesia. If this is too hard on the shoulder, honor your soma and adjust accordingly. Remember, none of the movements that we do in this class are about how far we can go, and we do not want pain. If there is pain, stop. Allow everything to soften. Allow everything to rest. We want to work without pain. We are giving our bodies the opportunity to relearn. One more time, slowly, with control, tilting the legs to the right. The left arm will reach up along the floor. You might notice, do the knees go straight across, or do they kind of angle towards the feet? Just noticing. Whatever it is that you notice, and slowly with control, bringing the arm back to rest and the knees back to neutral. And allowing everything to soften, everything to rest. So bringing your knees to be uncrossed, your arm down to neutral. Allow yourself to notice whatever it is that you notice. I'm going to have you roll over onto your stomach. Your arms will be crossed up and above so your head can rest. Your shoulders will rest on the tip of your forehead, supporting your head. And if you want a pillow underneath your ankles so your knees and ankles can be more comfortable, adjust as you need. And see if the placement of the hands, if they can be more on top of one another versus just the fingertips. Just noticing how that feels. And slowly, with control, we're going to think about lifting the elbows, head, neck, and shoulders up off of the floor. And slowly, with control, bringing it all back down to neutral. Watching that last little movement into neutral. We want it with control and ease. Doing this motion 2 more times at your own pace. Checking in between the shoulder blades that you're engaging the rhomboids. Thinking about shortening your back body as your head lifts, and slowly with control bringing it all back down to neutral. When you're at neutral, allow everything to soften. everything to rest. Noticing down and through the legs that you may have engaged them. Allow them to soften. Allow them to rest. We want to start from a place of ease. One last time here, thinking about lifting the hands, head, neck, and elbows all up off of the floor. And slowly, with control, lengthening that back body. As you come back down to neutral. And allowing everything to soften. And everything to rest. We're going to do one over the shoulder on each side today. So turning your head to the left. Resting your right cheek on your left back of your hand or your palm, whatever is comfortable for you. So right cheek, left palm, looking towards your left armpit. Taking a breath here. Slowly with control, thinking about that back body, shortening the line between the shoulder blade and the hip, gently lifting the head, neck, and elbow up off the floor, and your right leg may lift. Slowly with control, lengthening the back body back down to neutral. Watching that final leg of the slow and steady back down to neutral. When you're at neutral, allow everything to soften, everything to rest. And we'll turn our head and neck towards the right elbow. Taking a breath here. Just noticing even how this position might be different than the other. And when we're ready, we're going to think about that back body, that line shortening between the shoulder and the hip as we lift the head, neck, and elbow, and maybe even the chest up off of the floor. Moving the shoulder blade towards the hip and the hip towards the shoulder blade. That left leg may rise. And slowly with control, bringing it all back down to neutral. Watching for any sensor motor amnesia in the leg or the arm. Control all the way back down to neutral. And when you're back at neutral, allow everything, every muscle that got engaged to soften and to rest. And when you're ready, after a breath, allow yourself to turn onto your back for our final tilt and flatten. Taking a few breaths here. Our feet will be resting on the floor and our knees bent to the ceiling. Our arms can be wherever it is comfortable. And if you ever want, you can change and play with your arm positions to see how the rib cage engages differently with the tilt and flatten breathing cycle. And when you're ready, breathing in, belly button rises to the ceiling. Allow yourself to soften through the rib cage as that tailbone tips down. Back arches, and slowly breathing out. When you get to neutral, engaging the abdomen to flatten the back as you exhale. Breathing in, noticing can the shoulder blades move with ease. Breathing out, when you get to neutral, engaging the abdomen to flatten the back. Tip of the tailbone goes up to the ceiling, and 2 more breaths here in the cycle, just at your own pace. See if your spine can be soft. See if you can feel the fluidity through your body. See if you can notice the lengthening and shortening of the back body and the front body as you do your breath. And back to your own breathing pattern. I invite you to bring your legs long for your soma scan. Arms resting where they would like. Bringing your focus down to the soles of your feet. Scanning through your feet and the backs of your legs. Noticing if their weight feels different, if their length feels different. Noticing if they're more externally or internally rotated, or if they're more neutral. Noticing through the fronts of the legs if there's less tension. Moving into the hips, pelvic floor, and pelvis, a lower abdomen. Noticing if the weight feels more equal, if the hips feel broader. There's a different quality of tension in this region of the body. Noticing if one hip feels more in line with the other. Moving your focus into your lower back, noticing if it's different than it was before. Moving your attention up your spine and your back body, into the shoulder blades, noticing how the tension may be different. Do the shoulder blades feel more even? Moving your focus into your shoulders, noticing if they're farther away from your ears. And are your shoulders further away from your head? Is there a broadness through the chest? Do the ribs have more space? Feeling through your system and noticing your breath. How is it different than it was before? Moving your awareness down through your shoulders and your arms, all the way to your fingertips. Just noticing how they're different than when we witnessed the soma before. Is there less tension? Is there more surface area? connecting to the floor than there was before? How is their placement in time and space different? Moving your awareness to your head, noticing if it feels different in its placement. And through the neck and throat, noticing if there's a softness and a different quality in the tension. Moving into the jaw, the ears, and the face, the scalp, and the brain. Just noticing how it feels different than it did when we first witnessed. Allowing yourself to take a moment to lay on your side. Taking your time to come back to the here and the now. Allowing yourself to slowly sit up and come back to presence. Thank you for taking your time to witness yourself in this way, to relearn patterns that have been missing. Taking your time to continue on with your day when you're ready. Thank you.